All of you fellow Ugandans and friends of Uganda all over the world, my name is Chagulanyi Sentamu, together with my wife Babi, and we have just finished casting our ballot. We've played our part, we've accomplished our civil duty. We are glad.
Breaking news, ladies and gentlemen. Now, a hidden recording, a late night social media warning from the president's sons, and an opposition leader describing forces surrounding his home, all unfolding as an election result is disputed. Yes, at the same time, ladies and gentlemen, guess what? Hundreds of kilometers away, regional leaders quietly meet to prevent another nation or country or state from sliding into crisis. What appears online and what actually happens behind closed doors are telling two very different stories. Yes, so when power, silence, and of course public words collide, the outcomes can shock every long-time observers. Disclaimer, ladies and gentlemen, this report is for information only. It shares public statements and confirmed updates in a neutral way. It does not actually support harm, violence, and of course hate, and follows community safety rules. Okay, so now let us quickly categorize this into 4 different episodes so that you can actually better understand this. Okay, episode 1. In the days following Uganda's 2026 general election, ladies and gentlemen, new claims began spreading online. These claims were first shared on X, also known as Twitter, by a user named YOKO. According to YOKO, ladies and gentlemen, secret recordings showed people described as supporters of President Yoweri Museveni marking ballot papers in his favor. Yes. Wow. Uganda. Please, if you are commenting, comment responsibly. Thank you. So the post claimed these actions affected the voting process and stated that opposition leader Bobi Wine should be declared the winner. Yes, so these claims, ladies and gentlemen, appeared during a tense post-election period when the official results were already being questioned by parts of the public. Yes, so at the same time, another message posted on X or Twitter drew strong attention. The message came from President Yoweri Museveni's son, who also holds a senior position in the Ugandan army. Yes, so in that post, ladies and gentlemen, he issued a warning directed at Bobi Wine. He wrote, and I quote, "As for Kabobi, the permanent loser, I am giving him exactly 48 hours to surrender himself to the police. If he doesn't, we will treat him as an outlaw or rebel and handle him accordingly." So the message spread widely and became a major focus of public discussion, ladies and gentlemen. Now, later that night, Bobi Wine, responded with his own post on X. In his message, ladies and gentlemen, he described events at his home whilst the online threats were being made. He wrote that armed forces stationed at his compound banged on his doors, sang profanities, and ordered people inside to come out. He added that those present believe the individuals appeared drunk. Yes, so Bobi Wine also stated that his family and others inside the homes were not actually safe. He wrote that food was actually blocked from reaching them. Yes, and padlocks were also cut and chains were placed on the gate. Yes, he ended his message with the words, "Free, Uganda now." Yes, so this statement, ladies and gentlemen, marked a serious moment in the post-election period. Episode 2. Before we continue, ladies and gentlemen, as usual, please like this video, subscribe to the channel, and turn on notifications. This helps us share calm and of course clear news with more people like you. Thank you so much for your incredible support. Okay, so as events continue, ladies and gentlemen, Bobi Wine spoke to the BBC and of course explained his next step. He said he will not challenge the 2026 election results, yes, in court. Instead, he called on his supporters to take to the streets in Uganda in peaceful protest. He stressed that, ladies and gentlemen, these actions should remain calm and non-violent. Yes, so this decision mattered because it shifted attention away from legal action and toward public, expression. Yes, so peaceful protest is widely recognized as a civic right, but it also requires restraint from both citizens and security forces to prevent harm. So, ladies and gentlemen, President Yoweri Museveni remains Ugandan sitting president and commander of the armed forces. I said his son's senior military role means his public statements are closely watched. Messages from political and, of course, military leaders can strongly shape public mood. Yes, so especially during the tense moment, social media played a central role in how this situation unfolded. Posts from YOKO like that, Bobi Wine and, of course, senior officials reached a large audience within hours. So this showed how quickly online platforms can actually influence national conversations, sometimes faster than official reviews or investigations. So for many Ugandans, ladies and gentlemen, the situation went beyond politics. Families, workers, and of course communities watched closely, hoping disagreements will be handled through dialogue and lawful means. Calls for calm appeared alongside demands for safety and transparency. Episode 3, ladies and gentlemen, to better understand the setting, it helps to look at recent history. Uganda has actually experienced repeated election disputes with opposition groups often raising concerns about fairness and, of course, security presence. The government, in turn, has said its actions are not actually meant to preserve order and stability. Observers often urge restraint after elections, especially when emotions are high. In this case, ladies and gentlemen, attention focused on personal safety, respect for private homes, and of course the need for peaceful civil action. Ladies and gentlemen, whilst Uganda actually faced internal tension, a separate development was also taking place in Southern Africa. In Pretoria, the president of South Africa received the transitional leader of Madagascar. According to an official statement, ladies and gentlemen, Colonel Michael Redrina, briefed President Ramaphosa on Madagascar political transition. So the briefing outlined steps toward a peaceful process, including a planned national dialogue. President Ramaphosa welcomed the update and, of course, reaffirmed the Southern African Development Community's support for an inclusive process that will lead to elections as soon as possible. So the statements also confirmed that SADC plans to deploy a panel of elders to support Madagascar transition. Yes, so this approach highlighted dialogue, mediation, and of course cooperation as tools for managing political change. So, ladies and gentlemen, together these situations showed two different responses to political tension. One played out through public dispute and strong online language. The other focused on structured talks and regional support. Both demonstrated how the leadership choices shaped outcomes or results. Episode 4, ladies and gentlemen, now looking ahead, these events offer important lessons well spoken by leaders during tense periods, carry real weight. Calm language can reduce fear, whilst harsh statements can actually deepen division and, of course, uncertainty. Now, guess what? Another lesson is the value of peaceful action, calls for non-violent protest, and, of course, open dialogue show that disagreement does not actually require or entail harm. Ladies and gentlemen, so when concerns are actually raised calmly, space is actually created for listening and, of course, solutions. So institutions also play a key role or major role. Court, regional bodies, and of course dialogue panels exist to manage conflicts and, of course, disagreement. Trust grows when these systems are respected and honest and allowed to function without pressure. So above all, ladies and gentlemen, now the safety of families and communities must come first. Political disputes should never put ordinary people at risk. Respect for homes, food access, and of course personal security remains essential. From Uganda, ladies and gentlemen, to Madagascar, the path forward depends on restraint, dialogue, and of course respect. So these values help protect peace during difficult moments or periods. So thank you so much for your involvement to watch this particular video. Please like the video, subscribe to the community, and turn on notifications for more calm and educational world news.